LA Noire. A game, to quote my retrospective, that is like no other. A game, to quote a certain AC YouTuber, is dripping with style. Nearly a decade ago now, Team Bondi and Rockstar created a cult classic within the open world game genre, creating a game from the ground up based around a single mechanic, motion scan technology, creating a game so unique in gameplay and so brilliant in story that it's built a pretty sizable fanbase. LA Noire is loved by so many, and for years now people have been pining for a sequel. Question is, will we ever get one? And that's a question that I'm going to try and answer today by going through the history of LA Noire sequels to see if there's any hints that Rockstar is going to bring us what we so desperately want. But before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for 100 subscribers. I restarted this channel less than a month ago and I've already hit something that took me 2 years to hit before. The support from you guys has been astounding and I really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy this video, it'd really help me out if you could hit like. And if you're new here, feel free to hit subscribe. Thank you again, and let's get into this. Will we ever get an LA Noire sequel? Being one of the most revolutionary games of its time, LA Noire was a game really based around proving a concept, proving that motion capture technology could work in games, that it could make facial animation better than it ever was before. It's safe to say though that a decade later, the technology has not only dated, but gone extinct, with the massive graphical and animation upgrades that we've seen in recent years. You know, except from like Mass Effect Andromeda. Or, of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed! But despite the facial capture being the biggest selling point of the game prior to release, it was the magnificent story of Cole Phelps that really captured players' hearts all those years ago. Now, I've made a full retrospective of LA Noire, which will be linked in the description, so I'm not going to go into the full story here. But to say that a sequel would be impossible because the technology that the game's built around is essentially dead would be a complete misjudgment of what made the original so beloved. Team Bondi spent nearly 7 years building up this passion project, but throughout the development process, they were the stem of a lot of issues for Rockstar, namely that they near ended the game's release altogether in 2009 by failing to provide a working demo to their high-profile publisher. Rockstar at this point were pretty much known as a flawless company. Whether it be GTA, Bully, Manhunt, Red Dead Redemption, hell, even their table tennis game, they were known for year on year providing high quality, if not masterpiece level games. And so, despite being released to critical acclaim, despite selling probably better than expected, the risk of Rockstar enlisting Team Bondi for an LA Noire sequel, considering their inconsistency and their terrible management in the development of the original, simply outweighed the positives of a potential sequel. After countless negative reports coming out of Team Bondi after the release of LA Noire, Rockstar essentially decided to social distance with the studio, leaving Team Bondi completely alone without the backing of one of the most successful game publishers in the entire industry. This, unsurprisingly, began a downward spiral for the studio. Whilst Rockstar got a massive chunk of the credit for LA Noire's quality, Team Bondi were left with a shattered reputation, little financial backing, and near millions of dollars in debt, a lot of which was owed to their own employees due to terrible management. To the shock of no one, the company collapsed, less than a year after the release of their most successful and only project. But all hope was not lost. Rumours began to grow of a sequel to LA Noire, or at the very least a spiritual sequel, as members of the original dev team came together to begin working on The Horror of the Orient, a game supposedly set in 1930s China that was to be based around the same tech as LA Noire. Although there was talks of the game reviving the team, and with it the franchise of LA Noire, it was more so misplaced hope as opposed to genuine belief. And again, this hope was lost, as after a couple years and some leaked gameplay from the project, it was officially scrapped in 2016 to the dismay of many. But then, a year later, pretty surprisingly, Rockstar revived people's hope and love for the franchise, with not only a remaster, but a Switch port and a VR version of the game. A revival that came nearly out of nowhere, but immediately got people talking. The most vital part of these releases, and the thing that got people talking, was the confirmation that the rights to L.A. Noire still belonged to Rockstar. A question that was in doubt for many years, and after Team Bondi's breakup, left many hopeless for a sequel. But Rockstar showed that not only did they have the rights to L.A. Noire, they also hadn't forgotten about it. Rockstar still knew the effect L.A. Noire had. They knew the love so many had for it. And if there's one thing that Rockstar does better than any other games company, it's paying homage to their past. This essentially got the L.A. Noire 2 hype train going, with Rockstar wrapping up the long-awaited Red Dead Redemption 2, aka the best game of all time. Fans everywhere were left wondering what was next, with this massive vacuum of anything Rockstar related. A Bully sequel was rumoured and is still spoken about to this day. GTA 6 was of course assumed immediately, but many, seeing the remaster that came out just a year prior to Red Dead 2, saw L.A. Noire as the most likely project to succeed Rockstar's last masterpiece. But to be honest, this again was a belief that was founded mostly on misplaced hope. The only real theory behind them making L.A. Noire 2 was the remaster back in 2017, and since then there has been barely any rumours, let alone concrete evidence. That is, until March 2020. For the first time in a while, there came a new rumour surrounding an L.A. Noire sequel, and despite it being fairly small, it's definitely worth a consideration. As always, spawning from Reddit, a user was listening to music on YouTube one day when he stumbled upon a supposed leak of a new game in the works. This was due to the channel that the song was on being a YouTube topic page, one for L.A. Noire 2. The description claimed that the song was provided to YouTube by Take-Two Interactive, and that the topic page was auto-generated by YouTube themselves. And according to users who found the page, the song was introduced by a DJ who mentioned by name the radio station of the L.A. Noire universe, KTI. The two songs found on the page were Break My Stride and I Love New York, both hits from the late 70s, a supposed hint that the game might be accelerating to a new era of Los Angeles. Now, although an 80s era game would completely nullify the point of having noir in the title, although the page has now been taken down, and although this was little more than an easily fakeable Reddit leak, it did pique my interest. Would Rockstar really go back to this franchise a decade later without any of the original dev team? I mean, they went back to Red Dead Redemption, and no one expected a sequel to that. Justifications flooded my head for hours as I tried to figure out how Rockstar could pull this off. If you've played the original, you'd know that the game, of course, can't be a direct sequel, as Cole Phelps' story was undeniably wrapped up. I could see, though, Rockstar creating a spiritual successor to the original, creating an entirely new detective franchise based on the groundwork that L.A. Noire laid. But at the end of the day, despite any vision I might have of the game, despite Reddit's brilliant ability to find anything and everything no matter how tiny, there's only one thing we know for an absolute certainty. L.A. Noire 2 won't be coming out anytime soon. Now wait a second, that's not to say that we'll never get it. I do believe that Rockstar still care about this franchise, and I do believe they have something up their sleeve. To be completely honest, I'd be very surprised if they never revisit the franchise. But at the same time, there's only one thing on Rockstar's mind right now: GTA 6. Could they enlist a different studio to create L.A. Noire 2? Possibly. Could they bring back Team Bondi? Absolutely fucking not. But no matter what they do, it's clear that an L.A. Noire sequel, hell, even a Bully sequel, is not a priority for Rockstar right now. Their number one priority for the time being is making another record-breaking Grand Theft Auto. And no matter how much hope we have, how much love we have for those smaller Rockstar projects that used to be so much more common, right now we all have to accept the dominance of GTA. And maybe then, after making another 100 million GTA 6 sales, they might just throw us a bone. They might just give us the Bully sequel and the L.A. Noire sequel that we've been craving for a decade. They might just put us on the other side of the fence, instead of robbing banks, arresting those who do. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment down below and tell me whether you think we'll get an LA Noire 2, or just give me feedback on the video, because all feedback is really appreciated, especially if it helps me make these videos better. Also, if you did enjoy, it'd really be appreciated if you could hit like, and if you're new here and want to see more content like this, make sure to hit subscribe. With that being said, I've been Joe, aka Founded Scarab, and I'll see you in the next one.